Oh. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Somers Town Board work session and regular meeting for this evening at 7 o'clock on Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Before we start, I'd like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Patty, can you start us off here with some roll call?
From each chair.
Yes. Councilman William J. Faulkner.
Here.
Councilman
Here.
Councilman Anthony J. Sapico.
Here.
Councilman Thomas A. Garrity Jr.
Here.
Supervisor Rod Sperano.
Here. All right. Let's move on to public hearings. Motion to open up public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Patty, can you tell us about some published and postings?
That was published in Somers Record and posted on the town clerk's bulletin board on July 2nd.
Okay, great. And then first up here for our public hearing, consider amending the special exception use permit, SEUP, which will allow Best Plumbing Supply, Inc. And the owner to conduct warehouse and office activities. And I think we have a representative here tonight. Jonas, if you like to come up here and talk a little bit.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, Jonas.
Good evening, neighbors.
If you could just state your name and address and
Sure.
the reputation, you did all the good things.
Jonas Wilner, Best Plumbing Supply. Best Plumbing Supply has been around since 1960 as our family business. I just shared that I've been working full-time at Best Plumbing Supply since 1972. My math isn't all that great, but it's 50 years. I'm selling toilet bowls.
Hey, you know what?
To our neighbors and everybody else around. And we've been in that property that we're talking about today in Somers for 18 years. And when we came into the town, we had found a building that had been a 365-day, a 24-hour day operation, the old Guerlain factory. And
Jonas, it's funny. I came home from Ireland yesterday, and I was in duty free in Dublin, and I saw the name Guerlain, and for the life of me, I couldn't remember. And then I said, "Wait a minute, this is coincidental."
Yeah.
So, because the Guerlain factory.
So if you were to tour our warehouse on the inside, it still smells like my grandmother. I hope nobody wears Guerlain perfume that's in the room because I don't want to offend anybody. But the essence, they would mix it in that building, imported the essence from France.
Yeah, you showed me once years ago.
Yeah, it's quite an operation. So we've been there for 18 years, moved from Mohegan Lake or Yorktown over to Somers. Built a really great business over there. It's been wonderful. And the building that we were in order to get all the approvals, there were several restrictions that were put on our operations. As being there for 18 years, we've managed to, I think, be a good neighbor. Many of the concerns that existed have been, we've outgrown literally with the maturing of the trees and the landscaping, et cetera, that has taken place. And the few items that are still there as a restriction or as restrictions do encumber us in terms of the potential of operating our business and for potential use of that property should we decide to need the additional hours. So we are here tonight to answer any questions.
So on the restrictions, I think you were saying it was basically 24/7 back in 2004. You guys moved in. And there were additional restrictions. What were those? It was from 24/7 to what?
Well,
Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday.
24/7 when Guerlain was there. I think the property was empty for about 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And then we took over in 2004, built it out in 2007. We opened in July 4th of 2007 and been operating since then.
And what were the restrictions on hours of operations?
Bill, it's if you look at the information we got, the items, item 7, item 9 were the ones that were put in place back in 2010.
Yeah.
Those are what he's asking to change.
So. do you
So
want me
basically,
to-
Rich and I were on the board at the time, and I
Mm,
remember when it happened, and we had the neighbors on Whitlock
mhm.
come in. So it had to do with no outside storage. It had to do with the hours that we said could be Monday through Friday. And no trucking activity on Saturday is what we always said. And showroom only on Sunday,
Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday, sorry, apologize. I have
no trucking.
I have a bunch of questions that I
Go
want to
ahead.
ask, but I
Go
wanted to hear from, there's a public hearing, so I want to hear from the
Right.
public if possible
Yes.
first.
So we
Okay.
said. Anybody here to speak as well?
Yep.
If you'd like to come up to the podium,
Yeah,
please.
you all come up and.
Jonas, did you finish your summary?
Yeah, well, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here for the duration.
Okay.
So whoever wants to come up first?
And just state your name and address.
Hi, everybody. I'm Charles Green. I own 6 Whitlock Court. I remember when Gert Lane was there as well. I grew up in Golden Ridge, lived there my whole life, and then moved up to Whitlock Court back in 2017. So I don't think a good comparison is Gert Lane 24 hours. I think the community in the area has really developed in 20 years in terms of traffic, and in terms of the community, in terms of children living in the neighborhood. So my personal view is 6 a.m. is a pretty early start time to begin with. I don't really see the need for a 5 o'clock a.m. start time. I think that's a little bit unreasonable. The other concern I have is we have a lot of children on Whitlock Court right now. So I have 3 children, all young. I have a 4-year-old and 2 2.5-year-olds. My neighbors will speak to that they have children that have moved in. So there's roughly 9 children that live on Whitlock Court right now. If you do use GPS, which a lot of the trucks and delivery people do use, Whitlock Court is the road that Best Plumbing will come up on as well. So we do get a lot of traffic in Whitlock Court that is related to Best Plumbing purely because of GPS, not because of Best Plumbing's fault, but there's a lot of traffic that come in there, turn around as well as trucks. My other concern is Kennedy is now having middle school there. So that's going to add a lot of traffic to 138 as well. While there are some more trees that have developed, wintertime, the leaves aren't going to be there. You can hear the trucks at 6 o'clock in the morning backing up now. So it will be noisy, and it will be noisy on the weekends with additional traffic. Best Plumbing does have other warehouses in, I should say, showrooms in Westchester that are open on Saturday. So I don't really see it impeding the business of Best Plumbing, given consumers have other options to go to in Westchester. Thank you.
You would send a letter in as well.
Yes, I
It
did.
is
Yes.
Charles and Rebecca.
Next.
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Chris Mendocino from 5 Whitlock. So I actually had an opportunity to speak to Jonas today. I gave him a call. And I do run a business myself. And so I try to be a neighbor with a business and, live in a residential area. My concern again is we have 9 kids on the block. Even though he has all the best intentions, the trucks do come down the block. They do, go rather quickly to make a U-turn. To extend the traffic hours, I think would be a mistake in the morning. And, now I understand that he is open for Saturday retail business. My concern with, warehouse business on Saturday is outside noise from outside storage, forklifts, which he said that he'll put a provision in there not to have the warehouse function exterior. It's open for retail business now and it's closed. So.
Just one point of clarification, Whitlock Court is Whitlock Court where you folks live. But
Yes.
it's Whitlock Court as well, where the main entrance is to.
What's the name of your driveway?
What's the name of your driveway, Joan?
Route 138.
When I look at it at Google, it says Whitlock Court on both. And I think what you folks are talking
Right.
about is people probably come in or trucks come in, see the first Whitlock car, go down, right, where you.
Right, all the truck drivers
Make
come
you-
from areas not around here, so they make the first turn on the first Whitlock because we have a sign out there.
Is there a resolution for that somehow,
To get it,
to get it changed somehow?
talk Google Maps.
No, I mean, it's
No,
it's a signage or whatever.
Yeah.
you're gonna have to step to the mic
Yeah,
whenever
step
you
to the
talk.
mic.
Okay.
Were you done, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Charles.
We've heard that before. So what we did, and we've done this, we probably did this 2 years ago, is we, when we give out our address for anything that's incoming for trucks, what have you, we use 49 Goldensbridge Road. That's that's address that comes up differently on the Google map.
Right.
So I think that may have mitigated some of the confusion.
Hi, Mary Ellen Bianco. I live at 3 Whitlock Court. I also submitted a letter recently.
Yep.
And when we talk about Gurlane and their operations, our homes were not there at that time. They were built subsequent to that shutting down. So when our homes were built, it really became more of a residential neighborhood. And that's why I think the restrictions were put in place in the first place. And I do believe that that's why they should remain. We do hear truck noise in the morning from our home of trucks going in and out at 6 a.m. And we definitely experience on the street traffic, not only trucks, but people coming in to see in the showroom who think our street is also the showroom. So we do experience a lot of traffic up and down our small street where there are children, there are a lot of pets there. And it does become a little bit dangerous because people do speed down it. So that's why we think that the restrictions should remain as they are.
Thank you.
Now specifically, you're talking about, and I think the gentleman before you, you're talking specifically about the time. There are other things in here.
Right,
Is
the
that your
time.
major concern?
My major concern is the time, but I'm also concerned with the storage because I put that in the letter. There is a lot of noise. I didn't want to be repetitive to what I already submitted, but there is a lot of noise that you can hear trucks backing up and work. I feel that if they're outside, you're going to hear forklifts and trucks and the like. So it could be interruptive to our private enjoyment of our home outside.
Okay.
And Jonas, those things would exist over the weekend with these changes, or how will that affect it? Just want to sort this out
No.
for myself.
Right now, we have the ability to be open on Saturdays, and we're not for the very reason that we have other showrooms that are. What we're looking to be able to do by having the warehouse open would be to facilitate somebody that needs to pick up material. So right now, technically, they could come in on Saturday if we were open. They could see the showroom, which is not currently open. And if it was open and they wanted to buy and take with them a part or a faucet or whatever they wanted to take, we can't furnish them that because the warehouse is closed. So we want to be able to open the warehouse, not for warehouse operations, but for warehouse operations, I mean, with trucks coming in and out, deliveries.
So for customer fulfillment.
Thank you. Customer fulfillment. Now, while there's no visibility to the outside of our property or a lot, I do understand the beeping of a forklift, and we would not need to operate a forklift on a Saturday where it would be disturbing somebody. So that's not a problem if that was a restriction that needed to remain there.
So if I hear you right, and Chris, you could correct me if I'm wrong, and you too, Jonas. So you're talking about opening the warehouse, not for the use of beep, 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 and trucks and all that, but someone in the showroom going, oh, you need that part? We got it in the warehouse. I can bring it in to you through an internal way. Would they need to go outside in some way? What if it's large? Do you have to have a truck bring it around? I'm just trying to envision.
Well, if it is large and if we had needed access through an overhead door, we still wouldn't need to have an outside forklift operating.
So what you're saying is, Sorry, Rich. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, I'm just trying to.
If we're trying to
So-
box, yeah.
What I'm saying, actually, did somebody else want to, sir, did you want to speak? Oh, okay.
I just want to clarify one thing. Is retail like me, or is retail a contractor that comes in and is doing work? Because there's a big difference between me coming in my vehicle versus a contractor coming in with a pickup and loading up the back of the pickup with a bunch of stuff that they're doing for a job.
I don't
And
know.
I would take that one step further and a 18-wheeler or something of that nature, but I mean, what type of activities?
What do I envision if we were to do it?
Yeah.
I envision a customer coming into the showroom, any of our showrooms, and for whatever reason, that Saturday needing a pickup. If we had that much of a demand, we would want to be open for a customer to be able to come to our warehouse and pick up. The configuration for pickup right now is kind of curbside, but we're basically working to eliminate that and changing our internal structure. They're actually building that out right now. So the pickup would be done inside, but if it was an item that needed to be brought out to an overhead door for a customer to take, we would want to be able to do that. It could be a retail customer, or it could be a GC that's picking up your whole bathroom project, whatever it is. But we would be able to live with a restriction that said no outside equipment or no
So,
forklift, however you want
Just
it to do
clarify
that.
one point. Your showroom is open on Saturday, though.
It is not open on Saturday,
Not. Okay.
but we have the right,
can be.
it can
Right.
be open. Right.
Okay.
It hasn't, we've been there 18 years and it's never been open on a Saturday. I think for back 2010 was the change. So
Yes.
for, for
So
12
why
years.
not?
Because of the very reason my neighbor here says we don't need it. We have showrooms in Scarsdale. We have showrooms in Stamford. We have a showroom in Yorktown, which is only 15 minutes away. But the warehouse is there. It's the only warehouse in Somers.
So going through this point by point, and Jonas, you've always been a good neighbor.
Thank you.
And we really, other than maybe 10 years ago, we haven't heard a lot of complaints, and I know not that I'm aware of. So item 7, one of the things you're looking at changing is no outside storage shall be permitted.
Right.
That I don't have a problem with the outside storage as long as, again, there's no forklifts or anything on the weekends and
Of course. We don't have a problem. with
hurting
that
quality of life for the people who live there.
either. I totally agree.
The other one was change the warehouse and office from Monday through Friday to Monday through Saturday. And-
Yeah, that's what we were talking about here. So that if we had to have office workers come in and do something, or if for some reason business was so incredibly good that we had 6 days a week of office help, which we don't necessarily plan to, but most, we just want to be treated like other businesses in this town and not have all these restrictions, so that if we needed to do something, we didn't have to come back and request it.
All right, so I don't have a problem with the outside storage. Now, I will say that the hours, I agree 100%. We actually have a law in town that garbage trucks are not allowed to do any pickup until after 7 o'clock. So you're already an hour ahead of them.
Yeah.
And I understand, but again, there's trucks coming in, they're making noise. I would not, 6 o'clock is already an hour before what we allow other large trucks to do in town.
We're not open at 6 o'clock either.
But
We
it
have
says
the
you
right,
want-
we have the right to be open, but we don't open.
I know, but
But
you're
it
looking,
says 5 here, and
it
I
says
agree with
5.
Tom.
It says that you're looking at
I'm not voting
5
for
now.
that.
Allow me to explain. So as our company could grow, our reach in terms of delivery distance grows, and we might need to come in, do prep work for the deliveries, not have the trucks leave, but do the prep work, get it loaded, the orders pulled, get things sorted. So I wanted to give us the opportunity to be able to do that by moving it from 6.
And I hear you saying that, and I believe you. I just think that it's very nebulous when you say 5 o'clock, that, there's a new board in 5 or 6 years, and all of a sudden trucks are pulling in and they are getting loaded and there's different things happening. You're saying now you're not even opening at 6 o'clock. So again, I would not be open to moving it to 5 o'clock when you're not even doing the 6 o'clock. That, again, I'm 1 out of 5.
Okay.
But that's me. If you're not using it now, and again, we have other laws in place that restrict it until 7 o'clock. And believe me, we've just had complaints recently that some trucks were out, garbage trucks were out before 7 o'clock. and
all the time.
We're coming
No,
down on it,
I
you know.
understand that. I appreciate that.
So again, just from my standpoint, I wouldn't be looking to change the hours. That one gentleman made a very good point. Even with, they all made very good points, so I don't want to just, but even with the stoplight there, JFK has put in a new, what grades do they go down to now? Is it? Now it's 6 or 7. So they
Middle
have
school.
like 6th, 7th, and 8th. So there's going to be more buses. There's going to be more traffic. I'm assuming the times might be staggered, but I don't know that. So again, I'm a little hesitant to pick up that restriction as well right now. In a couple of years after we see what the traffic patterns like with the new grades being instituted.
You're referring to item 10?
Yes,
So that's a 45-minute, 20 and 15
it's a
35
25 minute.
period that we're talking
Oh,
about.
35. You're right. Sorry.
Right. And which is pretty insignificant. In fact, I don't believe the school had any issue with that either. But the traffic light, in our opinion, makes a big difference there. It's for our trucks going out. And again, it's not the biggest issue, but it is an inconvenience and an encumbrance that shouldn't be placed, I don't believe should be placed on our business.
Again, I've always,
What about the principal business hours? Talk about that for a moment. You wanted that going from, was it 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. versus 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
That's
So principal business would mean contractors coming in and picking up every day, Monday through Friday, the days that they're open, and the days we're open. And 8 o'clock is not reasonable.
I mean, according, based on what you mentioned, the 7 a.m. start date seems to work with the other laws that we have in town.
I mean,
I'm just trying to move this forward, but the 5 a.m. thing sort of is, is a little early. I think the remove the truck activity restrictions. I think we can release that. I mean, the lights there. I've spoken to Valancourt. I mean, everything's working with the busing systems. So maybe that. I think it's really around the warehouse activities.
the warehouse, opening earlier would be a no. I think another thing that's not on here, and it's not necessarily used, but Councilman Sirico mentioned it, is get better signage. So trucks are not pulling up your driveway. I mean, again, that's something that would have to go before the Architectural Review Board to approve. We can't just throw signs up.
Yeah, I mean, our sign is like this big.
I know we need a bigger sign. And I
That's
think-
fine with me.
I think if, but then we have to outweigh the pros versus the cons. There's a big sign out there, or not big, there's a larger sign out there. But hopefully it'll keep people from going up your street when you have kids out there. And that's something that could
Definitely.
certainly be a discussion point. Because to me, there's the two items. If I were living where you were, there would be trucks pulling up my street when my kid's out riding his bicycle. And there would be, I'm sitting out on my deck on a weekend, and I hear trucks, and I hear backing up, and I hear all this other stuff. Or I'm sleeping in on a, I'm on vacation, and one time in a million, I get to sleep in past, 5:30 in the morning, and I hear trucks in there at 6 a.m. So those are, to me, those are the main issues. Again, the storage, I don't have a problem with. So the signing would be a separate topic that we could talk about with the Architectural Review Board. Maybe you can get a rendering, and we can even talk to the neighbors who live over there, and we can see if something works out that can hopefully reduce that. You obviously, you'd probably love a billboard if you could get it.
Right, or trying this as a sign that says no trucks or something on Whitlock, something. I'm sure it's not the first time the problems exist.
One of those things. So that's, again, that's just where I stand on it. I probably talk too much. I'll let the board talk.
I almost want to try to take it a little bit further with the name of the street. I mean, I'm not an expert at that. I don't know how you want to do that. You seem to have done best efforts to try to change the address and
Oh, yeah.
people. But I agree, that's an annoyance having,
Totally.
trucks coming up
if you're going to change those signs, it goes to Architectural Review Board, as you know about, and that would be a strong argument, you know.
The outdoor
Change
storage
sign.
though, is that the only spot you can't put around the other side of the building?
Correct.
You know, wetlands or other woods or anything over there.
There's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I figured.
that big generator, underground,
What would you be putting on that foot?
Pipes.
Pipes,
would be pipes.
PVCs or sort of
PV,
steel
um,
or
Mostly it's cast iron.
cast iron, noisy cast iron?
It's all stuff that's in the warehouse now. That would be outside.
And would those be covered at any time during the season, or they'd be out there in the snow?
To be determined, you know,
And would those be moved, especially on the week, on Saturdays? Would those ever be moved?
never.
Would they create any noise? Would there any beep, beep, beep as you had to move them? So you would have no reason to ever move these on a Saturday if they were put on that concrete pad.
Correct.
We have another resident that'd like to make a comment.
Thank you, Glenn Bianco. That's my wife that came up here before. 3 Whitlock. He happens to be a very good neighbor. He's lived up to everything that he's committed to. We make a phone call if he was supposed to be fixing something or taking care of something, he does. So good neighbor. There's no animosity as we're up here. It's really about our personal concerns. Everything that's been said already doesn't need to be repeated, but the concern I have is if Jonas, who has all these great intentions of not doing this and not doing that, now doesn't have restrictions on his property, it's more saleable. And should he sell, the new person coming in does not have restrictions, can do whatever they want. And that's a concern we have. Businesses are sold all the time. So it's a major concern we haven't spoken about yet, and I think it should be brought to the table.
So your concern is maybe with Jonas, these things might work, but with another person who is
Sure, if
perhaps
there's
less
no
amenable,
restrictions,
Like
yeah, so we
But
release the
the-
restriction and then someone else has it and they're doing
somebody else wants
other
to say,
things.
these go with the business, not the property.
I'm sorry?
These go with the business, not the property.
Right, but if he sells his business, he can still own the property. But the new people coming in are the ones that are running forklifts and running their operations. So things are happening at the warehouse.
And that, I agree with you. That's what I said, is
Yeah.
that if we move it to 6 o'clock, it's not to say that down the
Right.
road, it's not.
Correct. And somebody else coming in. So Jonas doesn't have these intentions or bill or whatever.
but we
want,
can
desire.
write some of those restrictions about as specifically as we can about trucks and
Mhm.
forklifts that make noise that I think any reasonable person would say, I don't want to hear that on Saturday morning.
Right. As long as you don't release them, if they go away, then whoever comes in can do as they
Sure.
wish. If we keep them in, then we have some protection.
Yeah, and
Right, well, and then, yeah, and they're going to stay in some way, shape or form. Jonas is just asking for something to be modified. I think you've heard what most of the board has said
Yes.
regarding the weekends and,
Yep.
you know, yes to storage, I think, and the other items, not so much.
Thank you.
Yes, I think there's a lot that here that the board needs to think about and to discuss, and especially hearing some of the public comments and from everybody out here today. I don't know if we're ready to make a decision on this. I think that we probably need some time to hash out what we're thinking up here.
Yeah. Chris, come on up.
Come on up.
So again, with the concern with the Saturday business, knowing now that that's his only warehouse, when you open, everyone from all the other stores are going to be directed to Somers to go pick up.
Please address us, sir. Just the board.
Yeah, yeah, I get your point.
That's my concern.
Yeah.
So now you have 5 other hubs or sales points and everyone's directing them now to go to Somers to go pick up their parts or pipe for the rest of the week. That's going to create not just traffic from that one spot, but from the other 5 locations.
Right.
You know, so that's the, really a huge concern.
And Chris, would it be the hours that they would come in that you would want to have a greater restriction on the hours of Saturday, or just it's Saturday?
Saturday, you have
Just Saturday, doesn't matter.
contractors with
If we go
box
10
trucks
to
and
2,
you're going to have contractors with box trucks and pickups. And the weekend is when I get to spend time with my family in my home, in my pool or my backyard, dealing with consumer traffic, looking to purchase, accessories or parts is fine. When you add in the contractor aspect, contractors don't care where they go. They just want to get it done as quickly as possible, load up their trucks. And now you're sending people from 4 different locations. now you're worrying about traffic from, Stanford and Yorktown. And
Mhm.
so the one spot with retail is fine. Picking up parts as a hub is a problem.
What do you think of that, Jonas?
Respectfully, it is a business. We run a business there. And we've been there for many, many, many years, and we're going to be there for many, many
And
years
your
forward.
business has been successful.
Thank goodness.
Very.
It's okay.
I know your family is very.
We're okay. We're doing all right. We did sell the business, just so you know, last year. We sold it to a plumbing supply house, the largest plumbing supply wholesaler in North America. And we own the property. We'll maintain ownership of the property. They have a 16-year lease on there. So whatever we do here, we're comfortable with will remain for 16 years at a minimum. The company is truly an amazing company that will continue. I'm continuing as now, instead of owner, I am the general manager. So nothing has changed except for we're hiring more people. If you know anybody looking for a job, it's a very exciting time at Best Plumbing Supply for our people, as well as my family. My brother, who was my partner all those years, retired. So he's happily somewhere else. But I kind of like what I'm doing and plan to continue doing that. And what we're asking for today for consideration are really modifications that we want to have in place so that we can operate like any other business. Very respectful of the weekend and your concerns for noise. And as we have done in the past, continue, for example, the leaf blower guys were cutting the lawn or whatever on a Saturday, and that's unacceptable. So we had that changed because we didn't even think about it, but a neighbor came to us and said, look, do they really have to use the leaf blowers on Saturday? Things like that. We're here as a good neighbor, responsive at any time that something happens that shouldn't happen, that you're uncomfortable with. But the outside storage is really important. The changing of the hours to 5 a.m. from 6 a.m. I get it. If that's a deal breaker, that's not as important. If I were to rank the importance of things, the trucking activities is a nuisance. We'd like to, for that 25, 35 minute period, it's a nuisance for us. And I think that's kind of mitigated with the traffic light. And then the principal hours from 8 a.m. to 7 a.m. Is important as well, so that we're in compliance with what we're doing and we don't feel like we're not doing something that's.
Well, I'm okay with your number one priority, the storage.
Good.
So.
So if you would please give serious consideration to the other items, they are important.
And what about the warehouse part of it? You didn't.
He said,
You didn't say.
I mean, the gentleman's concerns are reasonable.
Being able to have customers pick up material on a Saturday is a non-issue for us today. I can't say that it won't be an issue 5 years from now, 4 years from now. And if our presentation and request is reasonable enough, if there are other businesses that have these kind of encumbrances on them, again, these kind folks purchased a house. There was a business there. They knew there was a business there. And we would, it's up to you.
Jonas, I just get a little nervous. I was going to say, I just get a little nervous. I didn't know that it had been sold. And I get a little bit nervous just in a sense. And I said this about other properties, not just yours, that we were talking once years ago about Stewart Farm. And as long as Stewarts are there, I love it. It's great. I know when somebody else comes in, we don't know. You're the general manager now. I hope you stay there for as long as you want.
Well, my nephew will be the general manager who's been working with us for 15 years. He'll be taking over.
My point is whenever any place gets bought, there's a 16-year lease. Anything can happen.
No, it's you've got the you've got the restrictions on what can.
No, but I mean, anybody could be running it. I mean, your nephew might be there, but again, who knows? And that's my fear. My fear is when, Jonas is there, he reaches out to the neighbors, he talks to them, he takes care of it. Jonas is gone. Does a new guy do that? Or does a new guy say, hey, look at this, I can start at 5 o'clock, I can do this, I can do
Well,
that?
the Wilner family still owns the property. So I'll give you my cell phone number, my kids' cell phone numbers, and we'll be there
But
for at
I
least
just-
16 years.
I just want to know, my process.
Yeah,
It's just like we say with the town board. We could say anything we want right now.
Right.
In 10 years, the town board can be different. New town board can come in and say, forget all of these things, do whatever you want and all that. It's who's there at the time. And you're a general manager now, which is great. You're not the owner of the business.
But I am the owner of the property.
Right.
So, and I do have a lease that with this very substantial company that they are very serious about honoring. I mean, this is a,
So, and I get that. I just, again,
Well, it's a
There's lot that goes-
compliment
there's a-
to
there's a-
you,
there's a
I
lot
think.
That go into this. Yeah, we could sit here all night and discuss the nuances of
right.
what hours and storage and outside facilities and we can hear a million different arguments about, and points being taken. What I think we should do is for all of us to get together, kind of go point by point and weigh it out from each individual person about what we feel is best situation.
But I'd also like to
So
get some
We
opinion
have
of
to-
people
but we
about
have to do
the,
that. We have to do
about
that.
the hours and the
We have to
like.
do it public, yeah.
but he's saying get it together.
Yeah.
On the side, and we'll hold the public
We'll have-
hearing open until our
Correct.
next meeting.
Right.
And then we can each come back and say, kind of what I just did, which is, hey,
People
I'm
can
okay
collect
with
their,
this one.
people can
not
collect
this.
their thoughts and not sit there trying to do it on the fly here. When,
But
when here.
No, we can't do it on the
Which-
spot.
one
That's
point-
what-
For me, I just
I'm
want
sitting down.
one point of clarification because it surrounds the warehouse operation. From an importance point of view, I mean, Saturday is, you're not operating now, right?
I haven't operated there in the 18 years we've been there.
Right.
But you
Yep,
you could.
going up.
But presumably if you open the warehouse, you will open the retail so that they go together, I would presume.
I wasn't able to do that.
So I know we bought the houses when the property was there, but we bought the houses with the restrictions that are in place now.
Right.
So that is an important fact. The other thing I think is very important, which I didn't realize, that he did sell the business to a very large company, in your words. They're trying to make more room in their current warehouse by building a new warehouse. So there's got to be growth plans here by that company to grow this and expand this way more than the old owners did, Jonas did.
Yeah.
Because they probably have more capital, they're a much bigger firm. So I would just factor that into that decision, even with the additional storage. Because they're putting additional storage, that's more stuff that can get picked up and more traffic and more stuff that's sold. So I understand, and Jonas has been a great neighbor, but having a new owner with that much capital with a big business, they're going to have growth plans here. So there's going to be way more traffic than was there previously. Thank you.
I mean, there's totally understood. The quality of life issue from my point of view right now seems to revolve around the warehouse at hours. Okay, and operations on Saturday. Some of the other things, and we can work with it. So to the supervisor's point, let us just take this away and kind of re-bracket this and maybe bring this back out to the public.
I would also like to hear input on changing the hours because the stoplight is there. So I don't know whether that's from the police or that's from some traffic people we have.
So,
The argument is with the light, that restriction becomes unnecessary. Maybe so. I just would like to go on more than just my hunch about
But
that.
now we have a new school season coming up as well.
So-
So
so
really not going to get an idea about what the traffic is going
That's-
to be like until September time when we have the 6th and 7th grade now going to be there as well.
But I would like to
More
hear
traffic.
from Kennedy Catholic on that.
Yeah.
I'll
Because they did come the last time we had a hearing, whatever number of years ago.
I spoke to Father Valancourt today, but I think maybe he should come and just
I would like to
articulate this.
hear.
But he said, look, I think it's working for him with the light. I mean, that was his counsel to me. But I think, he needs to come here and talk to us.
I just want to say this though, Jonas. These
And what I mean
people-
specifically is
sorry.
the 740 to 850.
Right, exactly. These people are saying that you've been a great neighbor And as long as they think it's your business, they can, because you'll fix things. Remember, you had to put in some trees and all that. I think when there's another owner, it's not unreasonable to say, will these people be as accommodating?
All right, guys, I think we've heard everybody. Everybody else? Anything else? So,
All right.
anybody? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to next month, August 11th, to keep this open. I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
If you have any other thoughts, please send them to the supervisor
You
and they'll
guys-
distribute
you
to the
guys,
town board.
I know all of you here who sent me letters before, so you can send me something else if you have any more comments, okay?
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
It's not public comment yet.
Not public comment yet.
Will be.
That's okay, 2 seconds.
Yeah. I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
No, we're
We're
not.
not closing.
We're not closing.
No, we're not closing. You're right. We
So long.
just move on. We're gonna move on. Okay.
We're gonna open.
Let
public
me make a motion to open public comment, and if you could keep your comments to 3 minutes, that would be great.
Second.
I have two topics. I'm Bob Madigan. I live on 1 Carolyn Way. I've been in front of you guys before.
Yep.
Nice article in the Somers Record about Lincoln Hall. I'll keep my comment brief about that. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, in 2019, issued a report on Lincoln Hall. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. This is summation of it, and brought looks like serious concerns. And they are recommending that Lincoln Hall adhere to policies that meet applicable safety requirements for the care and release of children in its custody, and maintain supporting documents, provide documentation to support the 29.8 million of program costs, or refund the federal government. And 3, develop policies and procedures that adhere to requirements for monitoring subrecipients and contractors. There's also a series of recommendations. This is just a crib sheet that you can go to hhs.gov, the inspector's office, and get the full report. Why I bring it up is because within that report, it talks about Somers Fire Department and why the school is lacking in its fire inspection. And they lay squarely, they give the blame to Somers Fire Department, that Somers Fire Department is not available, et cetera, et cetera. And you can read it in the report.
What's the date of that audit?
It's February 2019. All right.
Sorry, Somers Fire Department is
you just
not
leave that
available
with
to
us.
what?
I think so, here, too.
Somers Fire Department is not available to what?
Okay, well, by law,
Yeah,
they have to have an inspection monthly. They run fire drills.
yeah.
They were not running fire drills
Oh,
at this time within a specific time period.
Mhm.
Is it the only compliance issue?
And it was happening a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Nobody on monitor.
Lincoln Hall in that document says that it's really only partially their responsibility. The other part is Somers Fire Department. They have to be available to do these inspections or run the fire drills. When I was last here, we touched on this topic just briefly because I asked, I'm interested in in things like the police department, fire department, what are responsibilities to the school? Okay.
Have you
And
spoken to the fire department? Because they're not under our purview. They have their own
It's not a
boards, they have
town.
their own budget.
okay, but they reside in this town, right?
Yeah, but they
We have
run,
nothing.
they have.
So, okay, so if something happens there, the town's not responsible.
Well, we
Is that
can't tell them
you're
what to
saying?
do.
You can't tell them what to do.
No,
We don't set taxes or anything for them.
no, they have their own budget. They have their own board.
Okay,
They're
so if I
fire
wanted to
commissioner.
make a complaint, it would go to them.
We go to them.
Okay,
Police, that's
That police are under us.
Police are under the town.
That's it. Fire is not.
So there's also in the report monitoring, video cameras. They're supposed to have certain areas monitored. They weren't being monitored. All right. And I would imagine that kind of fits into these students, people who are living there, leaving the facility. Doesn't seem to be run very well. But the question I have is that you stated that it's a transparent relationship with the school, and that you're meeting with the school and you're presenting certain facts. Are you guys aware of this document, and have you read it? And if you read it, you'll kind of understand that things are not really what they portray. There's a lot going on there, and it's in our town. And we want to be good neighbors. So let's see what's going on. And have they implemented what the office HHS has asked them to implement?
Did you look on that? Is there a reply from Lincoln Hall or the representatives or their legal counsel to HHS?
It barely says to the effect like, we agree with this, yes, we're deficient here. We're going to try to do better there. All right.
So my question is, what you just said is, in that 3 years, what has happened as a result of that? That's certainly a very
well. We're
question.
meeting. The supervisor is meeting with Lincoln Hall. This is an ongoing dialogue. So I'm wondering, have they come up to standard with the things that have been
would be a
requested
question.
from them?
Because
from
I'm
HHS.
concerned with the residents there, as well as others, of course.
Absolutely.
It's a safety of everybody.
It's a safety
The
of a lot of
report
people.
talks about record keeping for the teachers and people that work there, deficient in lots of different ways, in doing background checks, for instance.
I would think that's
all
very
right?
important.
So that's kind of important. And from what I can tell in your article, you have talked to George Latimer's office and Sean. You have, right? And Sean Maloney's office. Good luck with that. They don't respond, or it takes months. And this is in our town. So what's going on? That's all. So that's all I wanted to talk to you about Lincoln Hall. But infrastructure is important to me. Have you guys come to any conclusions about Dean's Bridge and its removal? I do have some information if you're interested in knowing about it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So after a series of emails and to all different agencies, including George Latimer, who's said, we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you. Somebody did call me, an intern, and wanted to know what my question was. And, but anyway, we went through a process and it was approved to be removed. The environmental aspects were all taken care of. All right. I talked to the DEP, and they kind of by accident sent me to DEC, which is New York City. And
No, it's the other way.
or opposite.
It's
Okay.
the other way.
And they responded to me. And they told me in an email that the funding was reallocated because of COVID. But they couldn't tell me where that funding went. Right. So the town of Somers maintains a road that goes to a derelict bridge. All right. That a New York State derelict bridge, condemned bridge that is buckled, that then the road continues to Route 22. The fencing is down from around that bridge, and it's dangerous. There's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. I know my kids used to go up there. So the question is, two questions. One, who's responsible for protecting that bridge since the fencing is now removed? And why do we maintain a road that goes to a derelict bridge? I know the town has cut trees, removed trees that have fallen. Right. So once you get to the power lines, I guess it's about quarter mile, half mile from the power lines to the bridge. Why do we maintain that bridge? Any idea? Maintain the road, I'm sorry.
I think it's a county or a city-owned bridge.
Well, the bridge belongs to the DEP. There's responsibility for maintaining that. It's our road up to that. if there's a safety issue, I would like to take a look at it. But they, the DEP essentially just, took that bridge down because it was unsafe, right? They just haven't gone through the process of.
Well, the money was
moving it,
allocated.
and that's
and it-
been that's been an issue, and it's.
Right, the money
haunting and
was
front of
allocated and it was supposed to have been done by now, I think by this year. And the response was,
Welcome to the-
it was reallocated. So where did that money go? And the reason I asked you guys is because
No idea.
you don't know, but the reason I bring it up is because earlier in the year, I got a series of emails from our representative, Sean Patrick Maloney, saying that millions, tens of millions of dollars for infrastructure coming into the state, projects all over the place with tens of thousands of new jobs being created.
So you believe them?
No, absolutely not. So
Just get that out.
if there's money there, we should be using that money, and that bridge is going to fall, or some kid's going to take a nosedive off on it, skateboarding. Doesn't even, not even attempt Plumbrook. That's like a whole nother thing, but there was money allocated for Plumbrook also. I live near Dean's Bridge and just wondering, what do we do about it?
Well, if it's a town road, the town has a legal obligation to maintain that road, even if it's a road that doesn't lead to anywhere. To not do so would create someone who comes down that road who's never been in town will continue. And imagine if it was just falling apart. So we do have a legal obligation, even if you say it doesn't go anywhere. That's something, once that bridge is down, that is something to decide. But somebody owns the property on each side of that. So
New
until
York State.
up until that property is decided, the town does have an obligation. As far as the bridge, it's not a town. The town, if you follow these discussions the past several years, there have been several discussions about Plumbrook and about Dean's Bridge. And I used to live over there right on Carolyn Way, so I'm very familiar with what you're saying. But until they decide that, there's not that much we can do. There was discussions even about grants of $8 million about the Plumbrook Bridge. And of course, that's a very controversial situation. So you're asking a question we don't have all the answers to. Some of them are, it's what the law says we have to do. Others are things where, hey, whatever you tell us is probably news, so we appreciate that.
I understand. I know the town, over the years has gone through a lot of work, with planning and okay. And my thing about sidewalks, I've talked to you about sidewalks.
With you on
You
that.
still can't get through town here. But in the planning that has been done, it sets out certain goals. All right. And when something like this comes along, where there's money available, and then it just like disappears and nobody seems to know where it is, I wouldn't even know where to go to ask the individual, and if they would respond to me, what happened to that money? Where is it?
I mean, we can talk about the money aspect things too, right? But I think the most important thing is I need to send someone out there to take a look at the fence. Make sure it's a
Absolutely.
safety thing. So I'll send someone out there tomorrow.
That's great.
Swing by, and so we'll do that. That'd be the first step. And then, but I appreciate your time today, and it's always a pleasure seeing you up there on the podium.
Somebody has to do it.
Bob, what is the question you have for Congressman Maloney? By coincidence, I will be seeing him on Saturday. So if you have something specific that you're on, I will relay it.
Well,
Well, it's
his
been-
infrastructure
It's
email
been long.
back in January, after the bill was signed, within a
Yeah.
few days,
Right.
stated that, I don't know what it was.
Okay. Millions to New
100
York
million,
State.
millions of dollars
Yeah.
would be sent to the state. And he planned on distributing it, or however it works, how it works. And that it would create thousands of jobs. Well, his math doesn't work. And I've talked to a couple of his interns, but the math does not work.
I'll pass on that
The
concern.
math doesn't work.
By
And
coincidence.
no, we'll call you back. We'll call you back. Oh, no problem. Yeah, we'll call.
But he has your contact information.
He absolutely does.
I will follow
I'm
up.
sure.
Thank you very
I'm
much.
sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All Anybody else here?
Enjoy the night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
So no one else is here. I'd like to make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So move. We're gonna skip the next two items here. Approval of minutes and department reports.
We're not skipping.
Oh, remember? Oh, I thought we did.
Wait.
Okay. We're gonna approval of minutes.
No.
I had it crossed
That's
crossed
okay.
out.
All right.
Patty, can you give us
Department.
department reports, please?
I have reports from the town clerk, building inspector, zoning board of appeals, plumbing, bureau of fire prevention, parks and recreation, planning and engineering, tax receiver, and director of finance. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go on to business on the board. I'd like to give an update here. Town of Sobers when it comes to COVID. Currently, we have active cases. We have 131 active cases. That's 17 new cases as of tonight,
Sent from when?
from yesterday.
Okay. What was it? Do you remember? You don't remember what
I got
it was a month ago, do you?
No, a month
Oh,
ago,
last
ended,
meeting?
ended June, we're as low as 85,
So,
83, somewhere around that.
It's been an
We-
increase.
We've been hovering back and forth right around the 85 to 130, 140 range. We've been bouncing in that kind of in that band. So that's what we've been kind of seeing.
All right.
On May 5th was 132 cases, 12 new
130,
ones.
yeah. So we're right,
So
we're
it's
right there. It's pretty
It's up a little bit, but
It's up a
not
little-
as much as
not
other
as-
places.
correct. So Somers has been doing a really good job with keeping the numbers down. So next thing here, just a little bit talk about it's come up a couple of times here, short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBOs. We've kind of done some stuff for that. Seeing if anybody has any discussion topics on that. There's been some discussion 3 months. There's been some discussion 1 month. Seems to the last since we've put this out there, it seems a lot of the issues hopefully have subsided a little bit. People are sort of following the what's been sort of presented to them.
Have we had any complaints?
We've had a few complaints about it, more or less neighbors arguing with neighbors, and that's more of a neighborly thing on that regard. There's some towns that have implemented. I know Heritage Hills has a year that for rentals, but we don't have anything really.
That's different than a town
That's
though.
definitely
Yeah, that's
correct.
That's an
correct.
HOA.
That's an HOA, and most of that
Is implementing a
implementing
Restriction.
restrictions. But we don't have anything on the books.
When did they do that?
I think it's been doing that.
It's always been a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to
It's
the
been evolving over the last 5 or 10 years.
Okay.
Where each one.
Do they have any ability to
condos,
enforce that?
regulations are adding restrictions.
I believe they do. I mean,
Charters,
Yeah,
so.
I know
that's a legal question. I don't know. Roland, do you know?
If it's part of their condo association documents, then they would enforce it civilly in court. Yes,
Is that civil court? That's civil court, right?
that would be a civil matter. And the condominium association, or probably even the society, could enforce that provision, provided it's in there, within the boundaries of Heritage Hills.
But we're not talking about Heritage Hills there.
No,
I thought we were.
question was Heritage.
Tom-
question
Tom
Tom's
raised
question
Heritage.
was-
Tom's question was Heritage.
Was
Okay.
Heritage Hills.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Or
up
any
by
HOA.
Summit Lake.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
And I know this is something that we've
look, a few
We
months ago, we altered the code, right? And we essentially changed the definition of family. And we also I think we also changed some of the things, some of the definitions of interim stays. Okay, so in other words, but we did not say anything about a duration, which, and it seems to be working right now.
It seems to it seems to have been working to an extent. Would you agree, Rich? I mean, we've
I don't
had
know. It really depends. The people who are up there. You and I sat in on a meeting with two people who I've known a long time by coincidence. I didn't know till I walked in the room that I did. So, they had concerns and legitimate concerns.
Legitimate.
What happened to them is, none of us would want to have around us. And so then should there be a 30-day minimum? Should it be a 60-day minimum, as you said before? I think their experience will be a guide. We just don't want to make sure we create some terrible situation while we're waiting to create a change in what's allowed in town. That's my concern. But if you haven't had if they haven't been calling you or your office,
Besides that one,
that's a good sign.
Yeah, so I haven't had anything as of yet, recently.
Yeah.
But we've had that one incident that was,
Some of those stories they told us were a little untoward.
yeah. So that's all. So I just wanted to bring it to sort of the discussion again. It seems to have been subsided, seems to have calmed down. We're in the middle of the summer here. I think that both parties have been following what has been set forth, and I guess we'll continue to monitor it.
But if the problems were to continue or rise again, I certainly would be in favor of changing the ordinance on it.
Okay, anybody else?
No.
No. Great. Next line over here, business historic district, types of uses allowed per zoning. Want to sort of open the discussion up. We've had some of these discussions before. Kind of hear if anybody here from the board has any discussions on our zoning, especially in the business historic district. A lot of it's been coming up in about uses in town and what are the appropriate uses. We've kind of gone out there and done some research for other towns, but we're in a unique position here in Somers when it comes to our business historic district. And what type of uses that we can have here. So I just kind of wanted to open it up here for anybody has any comments or wants to bring anything to light in that regard. Anybody? No?
I'm certainly in favor of everything that preserves the character and the architectural feel of the district. Wouldn't want to see a departure from that.
I think there's 17 different subsections of what is allowed in the BHP, if I remember correctly. I don't know if there's a way of, Roland, maybe you can weigh in here. Do we need to have more specificity or we need to have less because it produces loopholes when you have 17? Well, if it's not mentioned, it must be okay. I'm not sure where to go with that, but I agree. I think we all would agree. It's a special area that should have a special character. We would be proud of that. And designing that, maybe our town planner would weigh in on that or other people, but I think it's a good question. I'm glad that you brought it up. Can't just figure it out off the top of your head, but I think it's a good topic, and people who know a whole lot more than me should probably weigh in on that. But I appreciate the work that was done, that's been gathered for us.
Well, the basic tenet of zoning is if it's not permitted, it's prohibited. But the issue is that the permitted uses in the BHP are somewhat vague. So I think what the planner is trying to do for you is both be more specific and actually even put in a couple of uses that are specifically prohibited.
And they surround what? There's a couple items. When I went through the document, I think he was pointing to convenience and fast food.
No, the only thing he added was
Right.
but convenience stores or drive-through.
Yep. So if you wanted something more specific in terms of a list of the types of retail uses you would permit, you have to so instruct him to prepare that.
Got it. Okay.
And all of that would pass any legal muster that would have, whether it be extremely specific, or in our case, you say it's still vague, it wouldn't affect the legality within our powers. Is that
I don't
correct?
believe so, no,
Yeah, okay.
no.
All right, well, that gives us something to do.
Okay. Thank you, Roland. I appreciate that. All right, so I got my homework.
Oh, we do.
Well, I'll do, yeah. All right, let me move on to your number 4. Permission is being requested to reject the bid received from Select Telecom for the rewiring project at the Somers Library per memo dated July 5th, 2022 by Thomas J. Tuma Jr., Building Inspector. I get a motion to reject.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All right. Number 5, authorize the solicitation of requests for proposal to hire a library moving company for the carpeting project in the library children's room per memo dated July 5th, 2022 from Jennifer Daddio, Director of the Somers Library.
Paul, is Jennifer on by any chance? I know she has a personal issue, and I just wonder if she was concerned about this, but she did have something more pressing. Okay,
Nope.
no problem.
Make a motion to for the solicitation request.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Number 6, refer request to place a no parking sign at the second curve of Wilner Road to the Somers Highway Department, Police Department, and Engineering Department for evaluation. I'd like to make a motion to request that they evaluate that.
Yeah. And
Go ahead, Tom.
I want to go take a look.
Yeah, so do I.
Because I mean, just on the face of it right now, if we do that, I mean, there are so many turns in this town. We'll have everybody in front of us saying, can I put a no park? I mean, our street alone, it goes down and people park on the street and you have to be careful when you come down. So, I want to take a look as well.
Yeah, I should have them take a look. So let's make a motion to have them take a look at it.
You're gonna refer it out
And
to
refer it out.
highway,
Yep,
police,
refer it out to-
engineering.
Bird out.
Do it.
Yeah,
Second.
second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. All right, number 7 here. I'm gonna move put all these into one. We'll just move them all at the same time. Authorize supervisor to approve and execute the renewal contract for the town's insurance with travelers for the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, per referral from Robert Kehoe, Director of Finance. B, the paperwork for the E-rate grant associated with the town of Somers rewiring project per memo dated July 5th, 2022 by Jennifer Daddio, Director of Somers Library. And then C, the shelter and license agreement between the Heritage Hills Society Ltd. And the town of Somers. I'd like to make a motion to move all 3 of those.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
And I want to
And that's
say,
the generator.
That's generated, correct.
Yeah.
and I want to say thanks to Bob Kehoe. We sort of looked at the insurance services through the risk management committee. And so we've been working with Fairfield County and specifically Mark Connolly, and they've always done a very good job for us looking at renewals and moving things and helping us out. And so I'm glad that we're able to move this forward.
Yeah, people may not know, Tom, that they they make comparisons and
Yeah.
send us recommendations and do some, comparison shopping, which of course is what we're trying to do, is get the best coverage for the least price on behalf of the taxpayers. And you and Bob have helped and done a wonderful job.
Yeah,
on
we do that. We do that.
And
through the risk
Fairfield helped
management-
us.
Yeah, we do that through the risk management committee. We try to meet with this. We always do this, and then sometimes we'll have issues that we need to meet. But, they also help facilitate training for our people if we need training in the highway department or in other departments. Mark will help work with the insurance carriers to get that training for us, be it through videos or other things. And our experience level, which is one of the things that they base rates on, has been declining, which is good in this atmosphere. So they do a very good job for us.
And
So
sometimes-
training reduces our cost, right?
Well, hopefully training reduces incidents. which reduces costs. But one of the things that we've done that has saved us money is we went out to all the different departments and got vehicles that were still on policies that were not being driven or for whatever reason, we were no longer using, we got their plates, we turned them in. That reduces the number of cars that are, you would think it wouldn't be that much, but everything adds up. And so we were able to do that over this last year, and we'll just keep an eye on things like that moving forward.
My point in that question was sometimes the more cynical among us, perhaps, thinks that government just always automatic, roll it over, whatever. It's not our money, but that's not the way government should work, nor is it the way that we try to work.
No, we look
and you've done very well in that.
Well, and
in your
Bob in
role.
general. I mean,
And Bob.
I'm involved with the insurance. Bob in general,
Yeah.
one of his first things is how can we save the town?
No, he's been great at that.
Very nice. All right, let's move to number 8, request to pay out 40 unused vacation days to Adam Smith upon his retirement at an appropriate date to be determined by Bob Kehoe, Director of Finance, per memo dated May 23rd, 2022 from Adam Smith, Water Superintendent. I'd like to make a motion to request to pay out those 40 unused vacation days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
We do not have, I don't think we ever have, and I think it's a negotiation thing. We don't have a maximum carryover, do we?
Yes, we do.
We do.
Yes.
What is it?
10,
10? Thank you.
but he probably had 10, but he probably 40 days was probably his vacation for the year.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I'm saying because he's been here for so long.
Right.
I get it.
There's no like he carried
No, they
over.
carried-
No, I know, but I know we've, in other cases, we've told people to take vacation and do stuff like that. But so we have, it's 2 weeks basically.
We can carry 10.
All right, good. Thank you.
No additional business for highway personnel. There are current vacancies. We're always looking for people to help us here in the town.
Settle.
We have an affordable housing board of 3 2-year terms ending 7/11/2024. We have an assessment board of review, 1 5-year term ending 9/30/2023. Library board of trustees, a 1 5-year term ending 12/31/2025. Partners in prevention, we have 2 3-year terms ending 12/31/2022. Then we have another partners in prevention, a 1 3-year term ending 12/31/2023. We do have an upcoming vacancy, terms expiring in 2022. The assessment board of review, a 1 5-year term ending 9/30/2022.
And that board there, that just meets in June. And so although the appointment says ending 9/30, you just serve once a year. So if you're looking for that, it's people who are contesting their assessment or their, would come in and make their case. And so that board meets basically, oh, wait a second, we're out of June. Whoops. Okay, we're talking about next June. So if you're free next June, sign up for this one. Whoops.
Let's move on to number 3 here. Authorize the appointment of Frederick Mcquillen as probationary full-time water and sewer superintendent in the Water and Sewer Department at 40 hours a week with an annual salary of $115,537 per memo dated June 13th, 2022 from Adam Smith, retired water superintendent, and per memo dated July 12th, 2022 from Robert Scornell, Town Supervisor, retroactive to June 29th, 2022. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the appointment of Frederick Mcquillen.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
And let me just say, I met him tonight. Adam Smith was great. I was so impressed with meeting him tonight with his qualifications, his the way he already has a firm grasp on what he wants to do there and his extensive background. So I thought he was very impressive. So
Yeah, he comes to us with being the number 1 on the list.
Yeah.
So that is a big plus for the town of Somers.
and worked for the county in a similar capacity. So it's really great.
Let's go on to number 4, authorized hiring of Nick Westhoff as seasonal labor in the Parks and Recreation Department at an hourly rate of $16 per memo dated July 1st,
That can't be right.
2022 from Steve Ralston, Superintendent of Parks and Recreation. Yeah, Parks and
We're
Recreation.
slow at acting on this one.
Parks and Recreation
Wait until the
retroactive
kids
to
grow up.
July 5th, 2022. Can I get a motion to authorize the hiring of Nick Westhoff?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Aye.
Authorize hiring of Taylor Winchie, all right, as temporary full-time maintenance mechanic repair in the building department and in accordance with the CSEA contract appendix B at a grade 4A, step 8 at an annual salary of $61,258, contingent upon the successful results of a physical, drug test, references, background, New York State driver's license checks per memo dated July 11th, 2022 from Thomas J. Tuma Jr., building inspector, effective August 15th, 2022. I get a motion to hire Taylor Winchie on temporary and full-time.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Number 6 here, we are going to break this up into 2 parts. Number 6, authorize the grade change from senior bookkeeper for the town of Somers from a grade 6 to a grade 7A. I get a motion to authorize the grade change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And then authorize a CSEA grade and step adjustment for Carolyn Brush, senior bookkeeper, town of Somers from grade 6, step 6 at $66,695 to a grade 7A, step 5 at $75,866 per memo dated July 14th, 2022 from Bob Kehoe, Director of Finance, retro to March 1st, 2022. Can I get a motion? All right.
Motion,
All-
second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Just to be specific, we're not changing Carolyn Rush. We're changing the position senior bookkeeper to a different spot in the contract. She happens obviously to fit into that
To be
right
our
now,
senior bookkeeper.
but it's it's about the position, not the person, of course.
Correct. Number 7, acknowledge the resignation of Susan Cox as a member of the Somers Energy Environment Committee, which serves as the pleasure of the town board effective July 1st, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
It's hard to lose anyone from that committee, so that's an opening of someone there. We need more.
Put that on the list for
Yeah.
for next for our August. Acknowledge the resignation of Kenneth Landers as part-time chauffeur for the Somers Nutrition Department effective December 22nd, 2021. Motion to acknowledge the resignation of Kenneth Landers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Aye.
I have an add-on here for tonight, number 9.
He's a great guy.
Authorize Supervisor Robert Scrown to sign Division of Homeland Security and Energy Services. This was awarded to the town of Somers in the amount of $231,073 spot 44 on 6/10/2022 for debris removal. Can I get a second to
Second.
authorize?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's FEMA funded.
FEMA funding. There's no additional business in planning and engineering. There's no additional business for police. Consensus agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consensus agenda? Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Great. Calendar for the coming up here. Our next town board work session and regular meeting will take place on August 11th, 2022, and that will be at 7 p.m. And then we will be back to our regular scheduled in September, at September 1st, 2022, 7 p.m., our town board work session. And then September 7th, 2022 at 7 p.m., our town board regular meeting.
That doesn't look right.
Does it?
September 8th.
Is it 8th?
Well, it's a week later, no?
Yeah, it should be the 8th.
August 11th.
It'd be the 8th. It's first and the 8th, correct. Nice catch. The 8th, and we have some announcements here.
No, wait a minute.
It's the first and the 8th.
The fourth
Yeah,
and
but
the
did we
11th.
sort of make a decision to do it on the 11th for a reason?
No,
August 11th.
August 11th?
that's.
That's
August, we're consolidating or?
We're consolidating August.
August, we're doing the 11th.
11, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
August, we're doing the 11th. And then we're doing on the
Right.
1st and the 8th. That's just
And I won't be here on September 11th, it's a Saturday. So don't do it.
I'd like to make a few announcements here. One, I'd like to just recognize one person here who's been sitting here the whole time. Robert Moore, who is our summer intern. It's been a pleasure, right? Having you here this for the summer. great things for you, man. I know you're headed off to Georgetown, and
Hoyas.
I couldn't be more proud of you, man. I got to talk to you on a number of occasions in the last couple of weeks, and we spent some time together. I know we're going out for lunch tomorrow, and man, it's been a real pleasure to have you here, and I hope you learned a lot by working with around each department and all that stuff. So thank you so much for being our interns.
Who's
Would you
buying?
like to say something? That's
I want to say that having lunch
buying
is,
tomorrow. I just want, are you
Robert's
buying?
A Robert is buying.
I want to say that having lunch is the key to a good executive start.
I just wanted to express how grateful I am for the opportunity to be interning with the town this summer, how grateful I am to you personally, Supervisor Scrano. It's been an absolute pleasure interning under your watch. I've learned things during my internship here that I would have never come to experience without your assistance and your goodwill. So I thank you very much. And I look forward to remaining engaged with the town of Somers in the future. And it truly has been a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Robert's been great.
Eagle Scout there. He's an Eagle Scout.
Eagle Scout. Yep.
And all people out there might recognize, he has that over at Bailey Park, that really nice exhibit over there about the history. And that was great. And, you know, interns like you we just don't care for, because when the interns are smarter than the town board, it makes us look bad. But you are, and you're going great places, and Georgetown's lucky to have you.
Yeah.
You got to make Somers proud.
And then some of the other stuff here for the announcements. We want to thank all those who donated blood during our June blood drive. The goal was to collect 46 pints, and we collected 47. So
All
that
right.
was a great job. So the Somers Summer Concert Series, Mike Burns and Highway 53, presented by Somers Parks and Rec and Somers Historical Society. Saturday, July 23rd, 5 to 7 p.m., Mount Zion Church.
He's
That
very
is
good.
Route 139, just south of Reese Park.
Saw him last year. Very good.
Nice. The other thing too, Ukraine benefit concert, Carnegie Hall performance to benefit those who have been displaced. And that is Saturday, July 30th, 7 p.m. at St. Luke's Episcopal Church. Tickets are $40 each. It can be purchased through their website. So that's slcsomers.org. And then you can find out that all proceeds of the concert will go towards the financial needs of the Ukrainian people. And then number 4 here, Somers Summer Concert Series again with Eddie Fasella and friends, presented by the Somers Parks and Rec and the Somers Historical Society. Saturday, August 6th, 5 to 7, Maurice Park Stage, 82 Primrose Street. And that's open all, it's free. So I think if that's it, I'd like to make a motion.
Actually, can I make
Go
a
ahead. Go
comment?
ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, I want to thank the Lions Club. I want to thank the Parks Department. It was great to get out into Reese Park for the fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of the month. We had a great crowd. You couldn't have gotten a better day. I think people had a lot of fun, and it was just nice for everybody to get together.
Yeah, the chamber was a big support too, throwing the
Chamber,
basketball tournament on. So
That's right. There were lots of different things happening during the day, and it was again, it was just nice to get out and see your neighbors and just to be able to relax for a little while.
I loved it in the park.
Yep.
it was nice. You guys,
It was nice.
I was up there on stage for a few seconds, giving talking to people, and you look out and you could see the kids out there in the ball field throwing the football around, everybody running around, and then the fireworks got going, and I think we had over 1,100, 1,200 people there that night, and it was just a great event for the town. So
We want to thank our own highway superintendent, Nick DeVito, for hosting the hot dog eating contest, which was somewhat disgusting, but it was fun, and hopefully we'll see if the winner repeats next year.
Was it like 14 hot dogs?
yeah, 14 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Then we had a high school entrant come in second, right?
2 late entries. Yeah, 2
Yeah,
they
but-
came in a late entry.
Still.
He ate a few.
I think 10, close to 10. Yeah.
I think it was 10 to start, ended up being 8.
So that's it for this evening. If anybody has anything else, so I'd like to make a motion to close tonight's work session regular meeting for Thursday, July 21st. Can I get a second? All in favor?
I
Aye.
So moved.
Have a good one, Roll.